Shalom. This week's Sedra is Sedra Tzav. Our Sedra continues the discussion about the service in the Mishkan and the Beis HaMikdash and the clothes of the Kohanim. Our Sedra begins with the pasuk, God spoke to Moshe, command Aaron and his sons, this is the law of the burnt offering which burns on the altar all night until the morning, and the fire of the altar shall burn with it. The Kohen shall wear a linen tunic, and he shall wear linen trousers on his legs. He shall lift out the ashes into the fire that has consumed the burnt offering upon the altar, and put them down next to the altar. He shall take off his garments, and put on other garments, and he should take out the ashes to a clean place outside the camp. Rashi had explained that the Kohanim didn't have to change his clothes. Changing clothes isn't an obligation, but rather it's proper practice, Derech Eretz. When taking out the ashes, the Kohen usually gets dirty, and there is a worry that he would soil the garments in which he constantly officiates. Rashi offered an analogy to explain his point about the Kohen changing his clothing. Rashi wrote that the clothes worn by the servant while cooking a pot of food for his master behind the scenes in the kitchen should not be the same clothes he wears when he stands before his master and mixes a glass of wine for his master. This is the point of the pasuk that says, and he shall put on other garments, meaning clothes that were inferior to the garments that the Kohen normally wears. The Ramban maintained that the Kohen might be obligated to change his clothes, different than Rashi. He wrote that while he understood Rashi's point that changing clothes when transitioning from cleaning the altar to performing the service in the Beis HaMikdash is Derech Eretz, proper practice, but he also understood it to be an obligation. What's the difference between doing something out of Derech Eretz and a halachic obligation? Derech Eretz, literally the way of the land, is acting within social norms. Our sages commanded us to always align ourselves with normative societal expectations. They even went so far as to say that Derech Eretz precedes the Torah, meaning that before one can study Torah successfully, they must first ensure that they behave according to societal norms. The reason is clear. Torah is not an individual activity. It requires teachers, rabbis, study partners, etc. to succeed. One can't act in a manner inconsistent with societal expectations and expect their Torah study and observance to flourish. In contrast, a halachic obligation isn't necessarily a societal expectation. It might be something completely outside of the realm of society. When the Torah commands or prohibits an act, it is for divine reasons that is commanded. God commands certain actions and prohibits others for man's benefit, and they lend to human perfection. Unlike Derech Eretz, which is a prerequisite to perfection, divine mitzvahs provide actual perfection. There are times we see the benefit of divine commands, and at times where its reasoning is beyond our comprehension. The Ramban understood that changing one's clothes before performing a service in the Mishkan or the Beis HaMikdash might fit into societal norms, for a person shouldn't serve before God in dirty clothes. But it also exists in its own right, as a divine imperative. In the Ramban's view, changing clothes isn't a means to perfection, but rather actual perfection itself. Shabbat Shalom.